Can they hear what I'm saying?
Come on, God, sir.
All right. Then we can turn the sound down for a second, off.
Come on, God.
So you ready?
Come.
All right, clap it up. Get on. All right. I'll answer all your questions online, your questions in the room. Also, we can go over the 4th of July unless I do it on Thursday. 4th of July is on the weekend, right?
Come on, God.
Okay, so I can do that on Thursday. Do I have any questions online yet?
Come on, God.
All right, what do we have?
Come on, God. We have Slakia, sir. Other than in the Garden of Eden, does the Most High punish men and women separately during this current time?
Other than the Garden of Eden, does the Most High punish men and women separately? I don't understand what that question means. So he's saying that the Most High punished men and women separately in the Garden of Eden. The Most High always punishes you for what you have done or for what your forefathers have done or your foremothers have done, because you are your forefathers and you are your foremothers. So if that was your question, it happens everywhere in the Bible. Everywhere in the Bible, someone is being punished for what they did, whether they be man or woman, or for what their foreparents have done, whether they be man or woman. All right? All right, whenever you're ready, let me know. I appreciate it, Arthur. Well,
I got a question. Slide, sir. Yeah, no sound. Okay. If I could, sir, you guys, the sound is too loud, sir.
testing, 1, 2. Can everyone hear me? Testing, 1, 2.
It's too loud. You keep going, sir. Sorry. You go, sir. First Peter chapter 4, verse 16.
1 Peter 4 and 16.
Go
Go ahead and read it.
This is the book of First Peter, chapter 4, and verse 16.
Mm-hmm.
Yet if any man suffer as a Christian, let him not be ashamed.
What's your specific question about this, please? All right. Whoever asked the question, just write in what do you need. Go ahead.
But let him glorify God on his behalf, on this behalf.
Okay, I'll assume your question just from experience. All right. Usually, the question is the word Christian is in the Bible.
Right.
Of course, the UPK teaches that the word Christian in the Bible. The word Christian means the followers of Christ. Right. I believe you'll find it another place. I appreciate it. The word Christian in the Bible as well in the New Testament. They were called Christians because they believed that Jesus was the Christ. The son of Joseph was the Christ, so they were called Christians. What we're trying to teach people in the world is that the people who call themselves Christians today do not follow Christ. That's the point, all right? The people in the world who go to the Baptist church and the Episcopalian church, the Catholic church, the Pentecostal church, the Mormons, they call themselves Christians as the brothers and sisters in the truth were called Christians. They call themselves Christians today, but unlike the brothers and sisters in the New Testament, they do not follow Christ. So that's your question, that's your answer, all right? If it's something else, just let me know. Go ahead.
Con, he said you answered the question, sir.
Sorry. In the UPK, we do not call ourselves Christians, but we follow Christ. You get the point, right? We don't call ourselves Christians, but we absolutely obey every word and every commandment that our King gave us thousands of years ago, all right? If that's your question. Next one.
Con. So did you bring down the Lord in Numbers 20 and 12?
I can't recall. Not today.
Con.
I only did 2 questions a day. Is there another one? Go ahead.
Yeah, it's another one.
Go ahead.
Your brother says, Shalom, Adonai. If I may, sir, can I get a breakdown on Numbers 20 and 12? My question is, did Moses get denied into the promised land because he took all glory for the miracle?
Let's hear it.
From God, the book of Numbers, chapter 20, verse 12. And the Most High spake unto Moses and Aaron, because you believed me not, to sanctify me in the eyes of the children of Israel.
Read that one more time, please.
Come. Verse 12. And the Most High spake unto Moses and Aaron, because ye believed me not, to sanctify me in the eyes of the children of Israel. Therefore ye shall not bring this congregation into the land which I have given them.
Okay, this is on the tip of my tongue, but I can't exactly recall it without checking with Commander General Yohana. I believe he's asking, I'm fine, warrior. What instance, when did Moses do that? Let me double check with Commander General Yohana, okay? It's two precepts, but he could be right, but it might not be right. So just stand by, warrior, for me to double check, okay? Read that precept one more time.
From God. Verse 12. And the Most High spake unto Moses and Aaron, because ye believed me not, to sanctify me in the eyes of the children of Israel. Therefore ye shall not bring this congregation into the land which I have given them.
I'm sorry, up front, you died.
If I make sure I believe that's correct. If you go up to verse 10, it says that Moses and Aaron gathered the congregation together before the rock, and he said unto them, Hear now, ye rebels, must we fetch you water out of this rock? And Moses lifted up his hand and whipped the rod, and with his rod he smote the rock twice, and water came out abundantly, and the congregation drank, and their beasts also.
And is that in the same verse? That's jogging my memory.
That's two verses above.
That's jogging my memory before. I'm still going to double check, but I'm almost positive you're correct. But just give me a day to double check, all right? But that is absolutely jogging my memory that he took credit when he should have told the children of Israel that the Most High brought water up out of that rock. And instead of giving the Most High the credit for the miracle that was performed, he gave himself the credit, and thereby missing an opportunity to glorify the Most High in the eyes of the people. I'm about 90% sure you're absolutely correct, but allow me please to double check, all right, to make sure. Anything else?
Brother asked, Shalom, Salaki, can I get the understanding of Exodus 35 and verse 3? And also the priests profaning the Sabbath. Exodus 35 and verse 3. Ye shall kindle no fire throughout your habitations upon the Sabbath day.
Meaning you could not force someone to light your fire. There's a good precept you could use. Just went over this in New York. Your kindlers of your hewers of wood. Look up hewers of wood. Right? Hewers of wood and drawers of water. When the Bible says you shall not kindle fires, because kindling a fire was a slave's job. It was servile work. The word servile means servant, meaning it was work that servants did. The children of Israel, like every nation, had an upper class. Who was in that upper class? The priests. The descendants of Aaron, Moses, the elders, the chiefs, and the princes. And that's who these laws are written to, because they're the ones that are going to teach the people and enforce these laws. And there was a law on the Sabbath day that none of these chiefs, these captains, these rich and powerful men could force their servant to kindle their fire on the Sabbath, could force the person that went to the well and drew them water, could force them to draw their water on the Sabbath day, meaning on the Sabbath day, the rich man in his home had to get his own wood, had to get his own water, because the law gave his servants a day off. And that is one of the biggest misconceptions on the planet Earth, because of our oppressor that has the world fooled into believing that he is the biblical Jew. He teaches that on the Sabbath day, his maid turns on the TV. His maid cooks all the food because his maid is from Jamaica. His maid is from Trinidad. So the Jewish man's maid turns on the TV, changes the baby's diapers, and cooks the food, because the so-called Jewish woman, she can't do it because it's the Sabbath day. They've completely flipped this scripture upside down. So now their West Indian maids and their West Indian nurses and their Puerto Rican drivers do all of the work that they would be doing, but they don't do it today because it's the Sabbath. Now, this gives the servant a day off. Here's the precept you need right here. You have it? You are of wood is in Genesis or Deuteronomy. If you need my help, I got it. Hold on. There. It's at stand by.
So it wasn't, I had, I'm not sure if it's that scripture. I got Joshua 9 and 23.
That's not the one I was referring to. It might be another one. Let's try Deuteronomy 29 and 10. Right. Let's try that. This is a precept for the brother that just texted in, all right? Deuteronomy 29 and 10. Go ahead.
Book of Deuteronomy chapter 29 and verse 10. Ye stand this day, all of you, before the Lord your God, your captains of your tribes, your elders and your officers, with all the men of Israel.
So now he's telling you who's there. Who's there? The officers, the leaders right up front. Behind them, the men of Israel, meaning the army. Keep going.
Verse 11. Your little ones.
Your little ones, the children. Keep going.
Your wives.
And the wives of those chief men and the army. Keep going.
And thy stranger.
And the stranger. Who is the stranger? Someone who is not your wife or not your little one. Someone who was in the lower class. They were in your house. You weren't in theirs. They were in your house cooking your food. Employees would be strangers because the people that live in your home are your family, except for the servants. They're not your family, but they live in the home. They live on your property, but they're not your family. They're strangers. Whenever you read about the law of the stranger in the Bible, giving kindness to strangers, it's speaking about Israelites who are not in your immediate family.
Right.
But the Most High wants to extend kindness and fellowship to them because they are your blood.
Right.
But they're from another city, another land, here working for you. They don't have a place to live in this city. So you house them. And because you house them, they also clean up. They also fix your herds or tend to your flocks. The strangers, keep going.
And he's in thy camp from the hewer of the wood.
From the what? Ewer. What is a ewer? A ewer is someone that cuts. That's an old English word for cut. From the ewer of wood, go ahead.
Unto the drawer of thy water.
What is a drawer of water? Someone who goes over to the well that you have to dig into the earth. Oh my God, how deep would you have to go down for a well? 50 feet? I could be lowballing it.
Right.
You got to keep going until you hit water, and you can't dig every place. You got to know where to dig based on where the damn tree grows. It's some science that they got worked out, brother. They had worked out. Our forefathers worked out thousands of years ago by looking at a tree, where it grows, where the roots are, and by trailing those roots, you can find out where water is if you dig deep enough. But you might be digging 50 feet into the damn earth, or 100 or 200. Who did that digging? The servants.
Right.
The servants did the digging. And then another servant went down there and brung you water every day and trailed that water all the way up to the damn house, got water to you every day. There was no running water. So someone has to bring water in for bathing, bring water in to drink, bring water in to clean. That was servile work, and they worked hard. And the Most High saw them and gave them all a day off. So on the Sabbath day, you got your own damn water. That's what happened.
Right.
You got your own water. You got your own wood. So you need this precept. You are of water. You are of wood, someone who makes firewood. You cut the trees down so you can have firewood. right? A drawer of water, someone that brings water into the home, all right? The Sabbath day gives them a day off. Everybody understands. That's for the precept. Thou shalt kindle no fire. Who kindled a fire? What do you think they did to kindle a fire? Light a match? No. How do you think they kindled a fire? Turn the stove on? Flip the heating switch? No. They kindle a fire, my God. The first thing you have to do is hew down some wood. You first go hew some wood, then get the wood, and then do a whole mess to get that fire lit, brother. It's hell. People try to do it today. It is not easy. There's a Gadite tribe whose symbol is the turtle. And I forget the name of them. They're around Syracuse. And I forget the name of them. Anyway, they were the ones that every other Gadite tribe would come to for fire. This tribe had fire. Because how difficult is it to even have fire if you live outside? If it's raining, that's it. You can rub two sticks together all you want. You're not getting fire if it's raining outside. This tribe would always have fire. So when the other tribes round about them did not have fire, they would always go to this tribe for fire. So you could take sticks or a torch, come and get fire from them and bring it back to your tribe to have fire. Look that up for me. I think it's something Makoya or something. The symbol is a green turtle. And they were the fire keepers. They had fire for the other tribes. Like making a fire is very difficult. Very difficult. Servants did it. Servants made the fire for the men of Israel, for the captains, for the chiefs, for the priests. Servants did that, but not on the Sabbath. Not on the Sabbath. And it's very simple when you read it right above it in the law where it says, no servile work shall ye do. Simple. Servants don't work on the Sabbath. I don't know what else I can do for you. All right, anything else?
That was it, sir.
Solid. Next.
Brother wanted to break down Ecclesiasticus chapter 16 and verse 6 through 7.
Mm-hmm.
The book of Ecclesiasticus chapter 16 and verse 6. In the congregation of the ungodly shall a fire be kindled, and in a rebellious nation wrath is set on fire.
You know what that's talking about? That's a metaphor for the Lord's anger, man. Meaning when you anger the Most High, it is likened unto a fire that you have started. You lit this fire, and now it's going to burn until it's had enough. Everybody understands? That's the point. All right, he's likening his anger into a fire that you lit. Anything else?
Verse 7. He was not pacified toward the old giants who fell away in the strength of their foolishness.
What does it mean to be pacified? To be pacified, the word passive means peace or peacified, meaning these old giants weren't able to make him be peaceful with them. Right? They weren't able to do it. Who are the old giants? The rich men of Israel in the past who had sex with women from outside of their race, outside of their family. The same giants that angered the Most High in the time of Noah. Right. Angered him to the extent that a fire was lit in his anger and he drowned all of them except for 8 brothers and 8 people on the earth. Except for those 8 souls, he killed everybody because those giants were not able to pacify him. So many of you who are Christian, you believe that you can smooth out the anger that God has for you, though you sin every day. You believe you can pacify him. Christians believe they can smoke weed, sniff cocaine, commit lewd acts of can I say homosexuality? You die or no? Commit acts of homosexuality, and that somehow the Lord can be pacified. You can do whatever you want to do, but somehow you can pacify him. Well, the giants of old were not able to pacify him. And they were giants, meaning what? They were famous. Right. They were like giants of industry. You understand? They were big time. You get the metaphor now? This cat is big time. Oh, this cat is big, man. Oh, what does he do? He sells sneakers, man. He's a giant, man. This is a giant company. Walmart is a giant. Google is a giant. That's big time, right? Being a giant is a metaphor for success. Success in industry, in business, and in conquering. They were giants, but they had heathen wives. They had wives outside of the family of Adam. And the Lord killed them, and he'll do the same thing to you. That's the point. If you go out and get a heathen wife, if you marry outside of the family of Adam, the chosen people of God, the Israelites, he'll kill you the same way he killed them. They thought they were great, powerful men, and that God would never hurt them because they were so rich, they were saved, they were so blessed, and then they were so dead. And the same thing will happen to you. That's the point, all right? Anything else?
Brother Ashlam out of line. Ephesians 5:19. Are these the thoughts? Are these songs like when we sing Babylon is falling?
Let's hear it.
Ephesians.
Good Scotch warrior. What's this here? The frog? What's this? Go ahead.
Oh God. Book of Ephesians, chapter 5, verse 19. Speaking to yourselves in psalms and hymns and spiritual songs.
Say that one more time.
Come, verse 19. Speaking to yourselves in psalms and hymns and spiritual songs, singing and making melody in your heart to the Most High.
Go ahead. Say it one more time, Talak.
Come. Verse 19. Speaking to yourselves in psalms and hymns and spiritual songs, singing and making melody in your heart to the Most High.
So he's saying, is that how we sing Babylon is falling? Absolutely, yes. Absolutely. Men in the past sung songs for sure. We're going to sing today, sing all the time. The difference is we're not gay. You get the point. That's the big difference. Right? When you're gay and you sing, of course, your song is gay. Just like your walk is gay and the talk is gay and everything else you do is gay. Not that I'm saying anything wrong about the LGBTQ community. Okay? I'm just talking about what the Bible says. And of course, the Bible is against homosexuality. All right? Everybody understands. Good to go. Yes, this is a precept that you could pull if you wanted to break down how we sing Babylon is fallen and sing No Cowards and sing a whole lot of things. All right? Anything else?
This brother asked, what event is the referred cause the uproar in Acts 21 and 38 about Paul?
What event caused the uproar? Okay, let's hear it.
Acts chapter 21 and verse 38. Art thou that Egyptian which before these days made us an uproar and led us out into the wilderness 4,000 men that were murderers?
I got you. What event caused the uproar? Find where Paul, where the women of the city came out against him, the Jews, when the idol makers. I'll give you in a nutshell. The brother will find the precept, right? Paul would go into a city and he would teach against idol worship. He would teach against the authorities that made money off of idol worship. And many of you might not quite understand the damage that you do to the economy of your oppressor. Well, let me explain it to you the way Paul saw it and the way Paul did it. If you go into a city and you tell people that they are not allowed to worship idols, where do they get their idols from? From the store, from the business who has rows and rows of Baal. What do you want? You want your wife? You want your wife to get pregnant? Here you go. You need Estar with all of the breasts. Here you go. Worship this. Give her an apple, and your wife will get pregnant. Oh, your cows are sick. Take this right here. This is Methrahi. You take him, pray to Methrahi. Your cows, your sheep will be fine. Oh, you want a daughter? Or you want a son? What do you want? A son or a daughter? Here you go. Worship this thing right here. Give this an apple. People sold you idols. In the Catholic Church today, they have a saint you pray to for every little thing. If you lose your keys, pray to Saint Stephen. I'm not making that up. If you lose, he is the saint of lost things. Your kid is sick, you pray to Saint Jude. There's a patron saint to the cops, to the firemen. to anything you could think of. Now, all you need to understand is, where do you go get one of those saints to pray to? They sell them in a store. So those people were angry about Paul because Paul is in essence destroying their economy because they sell idols. And people go into these churches and give money to the church. And Paul is saying, don't give money to this pantheon, or don't give money to Zeus. Don't give money to this Greek god. Then they're going to go broke. They're going to become what? Vagabonds. They're going to go poor. And so because of that, they would be so angry, and they would try to run him out of every city he went in because he destroyed Christmas. He destroyed Thanksgiving. He destroyed the 4th of July. If enough people believe in what Commanding General Yohanan is teaching, then there would be no Christmas. And without Christmas, the American economy, the British economy would fall without that one holiday. One. Now you add Thanksgiving and Valentine's Day to that, bro. This economy is built on lies. You tell the truth, the economy will fall. That's why they hated Paul. Let me get the precept. You don't have it yet, right? Let me get it for you real fast. He went into the city. Someone find it for me. Hold your point 1 second, so I don't forget. He went into the city. The chief women of the city came up against him. Bear with me.
I think I have it.
Go ahead.
Book of Acts, chapter 13, verse 50. But the Jews stirred up the devout and honorable women.
That's what I need. The water get mine. That's one of them. This is many of them, but you can read this. See it, read above it and see what it says.
Come. Verse 48. And when the Gentiles heard this, they were glad and glorified the word of the Most High. And as many as were ordained to eternal life believed. Verse 49. Mm-hmm. And the word of the Most High was published throughout all the region. Mm-hmm. Verse 50. But the Jews stirred up the devout and honorable.
1 second, you done? What do you have? Go ahead.
I believe it's
the same. This is a different one?
This is Acts 17 and verse 1.
Let me hear what you have.
Acts 17 and verse 1. Now when they had passed through Amphipolis and Apollonia, they came to Thessalonica, where was a synagogue of the Jews, and Paul, as his manner, went unto them, and 3 Sabbath days reasoned with them out the scriptures, opening and alleging that Christ was needs suffered, and have risen again from the dead, and that Jesus whom I preach unto you is Christ. Mm-hmm. And some of them believed and consorted with Paul and Silas, and out of the Greeks a great multitude, and of the chief women not a few. But the Jews which believed not, moved with envy, took unto them certain lewd fellows of bastard sort, and gathered a company, and set out all the city on an uproar, and assaulted the house adjacent, and sought to bring them out to the people.
That's another good one. I was trying to get to why they hated him, I believe, to the question. But that's another excellent one. I'm just trying to explain why they were so angry about him, because he destroyed their economy. All right, keep reading, please. Issachar. This might be it. Go ahead.
Verse 50. But the Jews stirred up the devout and honorable women and the chief men of the city, and raised persecution against Paul and Barnabas, and expelled them out of their coast. Mm-hmm. But they shook off the dust of their feet against them, and came unto a
This would happen many times. Let me give you another one that might illuminate it a little clearer. Give me the Stoics. When the Stoics hated Paul, I believe it's the Stoics, right? The Stoics were a sect, and they sold things and had followers, and Paul would make religious groups lose their followers. And if they lose their followers, they lose their income. And so because of that, everyone hated him. The Jews hated him because, of course, if they did not follow, if they followed Paul, they would not follow the Jews. And if they followed Paul, who would they pay tithes to? Come on. They would pay, give me a better answer. If they followed Paul, they would follow they would pay tithes to the priests after the order of Melchizedek, which is what Paul taught them. Maybe you can go to that one to show you why they hated him so much. Come on.
If I could, sir, it was a couple of scriptures there from what I pulled.
Go ahead. Please read that. Someone else give me Hebrews where Paul said, ye are priests after the order of Melchizedek. I want to say it's the 7th chapter of Hebrews. You finished reading where you were.
This is the book of Acts, chapter 17, and verse 18. Then certain philosophers of Ephesus and the Stoics encountered him, and some said, what will this blabber say? Others some, he seemeth to be a setter forth of strange gods, because he preached unto them Jesus and the resurrection.
So remember, they have gods they worship, right? But he is talking about Christ. So they begin to say he seems to be somebody teaching about strange gods. That, of course, was a lie, but they had to say that. Why? To get him killed. You understand? That was their way of getting him killed. Because what does the Old Testament say must happen to someone who teaches of a strange God? It's in Deuteronomy, the 13th chapter. You have to kill them. So when Paul would teach about Christ, all of the religious leaders who made money because of the people's obedience to them financially, they said, well, he seems to be teaching about strange gods. That was their attempt to lie and have him killed. That's the same reason they call us a hate group, or they say we're racist. That's their way of pushing us onto a side that would mean no one should listen to us and we should be arrested because we're dangerous. That's their way of trying to hurt us for doing something that we're not doing at all, because we hurt them financially. Any more up?
Acts chapter 17 and verse 19. And they took him and brought him into Areopagus, saying, may we know what this new doctrine whereof thou speakest is. Mm-hmm. For thou bringest certain strange things to our ears. Mm-hmm. We would know, therefore, what these things mean.
This is your life. This is what you go through every day. Here you like, what are you talking about? Well, this is a strange, you're in a cult. What is this strange mess you're talking about here? And Paul went through this every day, brother. We'll go from city to city. Sometimes the city will reject him. He kicked the dust from his feet and leave him. F them. He go bring his thing somewhere else to belong to the Lord. He'll take it where the Lord wants him to go. Come on.
So, like, so what you saying is so heavy. I remember hearing you speak on that. Like, oh, that cities don't want to receive you. Forget it. Move on to the next city. That was something new that I like. Okay, knowing the spirit in the ISUPK, knowing that we put in the work, conquer zones. Yeah. But hearing you say that, I was man, good night. You just said it. In my head, I'm like, generally just said it, like not even a care in the world. Like, listen, if they ain't receiving it, move on.
Some people want to die, brother. That's up to them. Right. You come in the name of Christ to offer them life. Now, if they don't want it, then they can just die. Because there are people that are desperately waiting for you to get to them. So why force life on this person who doesn't want it? Go to that city. They're waiting, praying every day to meet you. Everybody understands. All right, give me the one in Hebrews. This might crystallize why they hated Paul. Hebrews in the back, Captain. Nice and loud.
Hebrews 7 and 15.
Hebrews 7 and 15, go.
And it is evident yet, and it is yet far more evident, for that after the similitude of Melchizedek, there arises another priest.
After the similitude of Melchizedek. Who is Melchizedek? Melchizedek is a priest that Abraham met after he conquered these three kings. He gave 10% of the spoil that he took from these three kings. He gave it to this man he met in the middle of the road that was just standing there. But he knew this man came from God.
Right.
So he gave him 10% of the money he just took from these kings. Now, that same Melchizedek is Yahushua Christ.
That's right.
And he is the author of this priesthood. And what Paul is saying right here is why they had to get him out of those cities. Because who's taking the tithes now? The Jews, the priests who were Jews. They're getting 10%. But Paul is saying what? Read that again.
For that after the similitude of Melchizedek, there rises another priest.
Keep going.
Who was made not after the law of a carnal commandment.
Who is made not after the law of a carnal commandment. What is a law of the carnal commandment concerning priests? Every priest, Captain, only Levites can be priests. Carnal meaning what? Because it's about your penis and the sperm that comes out of it. If you were a Haitian, your penis made priests. Whatever the seed that came out of it, if that seed was a man, then it was a priest. Done. That is the law of a carnal commandment. That is the law, but it's a carnal commandment. This man is a priest not because he loves the Lord, not because he's devoted to the Most High, but because his daddy was from the tribe of Levi. So now he's a priest. Now that's that kind of priest. Now, can you imagine how the Levite priest thought of this? They knew that this would destroy the way that they made money. It destroyed it. Because he's saying that they're the priests and they're a better priest because it's not after the carnal commandment of whatever boy child I have as a priest. These priests are made like this. Read.
Not after the law of a carnal commandment, but after the power of an endless life.
Now that is bold. And that's going to make people get you the hell out of the town. Because it is saying, my daddy is a Levite, that's why everybody gives me 10% of their money. He's saying that is carnal because it's just flesh, and his is after the power of Yahweh. Well, which one is better? I don't have to ask you. The spiritual one is better. Paul is coming against who you pay tithes to. And he's directly making a challenge to the economy of black people. Reverends and preachers drive Rolls Royces and fly in private jets. And you are directly attacking their income. And that's why they call you a hate group. That's why they say you're in a cult. Because you are directly attacking a business that is strong and powerful as slavery used to be. Black people going to church. Hispanics going to church. The economy is so wonderful. Random people you never heard of drive Rolls Royces. You never heard. Besides the drug game, there is no game like the Christian game. I can't think of another game. Pimps used to drive Rolls Royces. Then the drug dealers came and made way more money than them. The preachers have been making money during all that time. Right. During that time where pimps were around, pimps drove Rolls Royces. They had a hell of a hustle. They have a woman with no overhead. What are they buying her? Nothing. Food and a place to live with 10 other hoes living in the same house. So he has no overhead. So because of that, he can drive a Rolls Royce. Because he puts all of those whores in the same apartment. It's about 10 of them in there. The place smells like a zoo. He feeds them damn near nothing. He keeps them in cocaine, crack, and weed and liquor and works them all night. He has no overhead, so he can afford Rolls Royces. That was good money until the drug game came, and my God, and heroin makes that look like pennies. The amount of money you can get to someone who is a slave to heroin. He is going to make his wife a whore to get heroin money. He's going to put his daughter on the strip so he can get heroin money. So then it made the drug game the most profitable thing you could ever imagine. Preachers have been making money and driving Rolls Royces and flying in jets during the drug epidemic, during the time of the pimps. During all that time, their money has never slowed at all. During great economic crisis, during the Depression, during the recession, the churches are more profitable. Hold your point 1 second. They make more money. You are directly challenging that. You are a challenge to that income. You're making a direct challenge to it. And you're doing it so bold and in their face that it makes them look like punks. It makes them look like they don't know the Bible. And then they can't make money. Let me keep reading, then I'll get to you up. Keep going.
For he testified, thou art a priest forever after the order of Melchizedek.
For he testified, this is what Abraham said. For he testified, thou art a priest forever after the order of Melchizedek. Not after the order of Levi, after the order of Melchizedek. And of course, in Israel, there was one order of priesthood. There weren't two orders of priests in Israel. There was one priesthood, and that was after the order of Aaron. The sons of Aaron were the priests. But these are not from Aaron. These are priests after the order of Melchizedek, which is a man from heaven that Abraham met on the road, coming from a battle, and gave him 10%. Keep going.
For there is verily a disannulling of the commandment going before.
There is a what?
Disannulling.
There is a what?
Disannulling.
That messes up your money if you're a priest after the order of Aaron. There is a disannulling. You know what that means? To disannul something? To make it stop. To make it go away. There is a verily, meaning definitely. A disannulling, meaning a voiding of what? Keep going.
A disannulling of the commandment going before for the weakness and unprofitableness thereof.
A disannulling of the commandment. What was the commandment? Who wants to get it from me? The sons of Aaron shall take 10%. That is their portion. They shall not own land. They shall not crop. They shall not plow fields. 10% of your income belongs to them. Meaning it isn't charity when you pay tithes. It is their money. Think of it like taxes. If you can't withhold your taxes, the tax money doesn't belong to you. If you withhold it, you go to jail because it is not yours. You earned it, you went to work for it, and it doesn't belong to you. Well, where do you think our oppressor got that from? From the Bible. You go to work for your paycheck. You slave and sit in the hot sun and you work hard for that paycheck. And 10% of it does not belong to you. It belongs to Commanding General Yohanan. It's in the Bible. It's right here. And the commandment that said only the Levites can take 10%. Well, verily, that commandment has been disannulled. Clearly. This is why they had to kill him. This is why they ran him out of cities. Give me the Levite commandment. It's in the book of Genesis. All right, it's the tithe scripture for Levi. Keep reading, Ariana.
For verily there is a disannulling of the commandment going before for the weakness and unprofitableness thereof.
Who was weak and unprofitable? This commandment that said, if you were a Levite, you were a priest. If you were a Levite who was in Aaron's family, you were a priest. Every Levite served in the priesthood in some way. The tribe of Levi couldn't own or have crops or have fields. So some Levites tended to the horses, to the stables in the temple. Every Haitian in some way profited from the tithes. They couldn't own anything else. If you were in Aaron's house, then now you were the chief priest. All right? And Paul just said it was unprofitable, meaning the Levite priests were terrible. They were awful at it. Why? Because they didn't want it. These weren't men who were devoted and dedicated to the Lord. These were men that had a job because their daddy had the job. It was high-powered nepotism, and that's that. And because it was unprofitable, keep going.
For the law made nothing perfect.
For the law made nothing perfect. These brothers, didn't strive to a higher level because they were born priests. It didn't make anything perfect. Keep going.
But the bringing in of a better hope did.
The bringing in of a better hope did. The priests after the order of Melchizedek are a better hope than the Levite priests. Keep going.
By the which we draw nigh unto God.
And through that priesthood, we have gotten closer to God. Keep going.
And as much as not without an oath, he was made priest.
And as much as not without an oath. Meaning these priests after the order of Melchizedek, they have to promise. They have to put it on the line. Every priest is a priest not without an oath. You have to take an oath. Now, what does the Bible say about taking an oath? Don't take an oath. Don't do it. You better not do it. Why? Because once you do it, you are bound to it. An oath is an extremely serious thing to the Most High God. Watch your mouth before you do it. Be careful. Just shut your mouth. Don't do it. Because once you take it, you will be bound to what you have said you will do. And I pray that every camp leader is making it that serious to the new priests that they raise up all in the UPK all across the world, brother. Because the Most High will take it serious. He will kill you for breaking your oath. He will take your children. He will take your wife. He will take everything from you because you laid down your sword. He will hurt you over it. It's going to happen. He's going to give you 7 more demons, worse than the ones you gave up before you took your oath. Everybody understands. Give me a little more, Ariel. Just give me to the point about how Aaron was in the loins of Abraham when Melchizedek received tithes, just to make it more clear that he is coming against the Levite priesthood and taking the tithes himself. And give me the tithe. Give me where he's going to just say, he's going to talk about paying tithes right in the same chapter. Then I got to go. I'll help you out. Hold on. All right. Hebrews 7, right?
I think I'm here 12.
What verse were you at?
I was at 7:15. I started at 7:15.
Verse 9 sounds right. Give me straight to when he talks about the 10%. He's in here too.
Verse 5.
Okay. Right, that's what you need.
Hebrews 7, verse 5.
No, read 7 and 1.
So Hebrews 7, verse 1.
Everyone online, make sure you can hear him. If not, let the brother know.
Hebrews 7, verse 1. For this Melchizedek, king of Salem, priest of the Most High God, who met Abraham returning from the slaughter of the kings and blessed him, to whom also Abraham gave a 10th part of all, first being by interpretation, king of righteousness.
You understand that? Abraham gave a 10th part of all, 10%, to this priest Melchizedek. Keep going.
And after that also, king of Salem, which is king of peace.
King of peace. The 10th part, of course, is what tithe means. Tithe is 10th in Old English, tithe. Abraham gave Melchizedek a 10th of all of it. All. Who is the Prince of Peace. Why? Because Melchizedek was Christ. The Prince of Peace. Keep going.
Without father, without mother, without descent, having neither beginning of days nor end of life.
That's important for the breakdown. He didn't have a mother. He didn't have a father. He came straight down from the Lord. No mother, no father, like an angel. Straight from the Most High. Appeared on that road and took 10% and left. Keep going.
But made like unto the Son of God, abideth a priest.
Made like unto the Son of God means what? Like an angel. That's what a Son of God is. Made like an angel. Came right down on the road, appeared, took the money and rolled. Keep going.
Abideth a priest continually.
He does what?
Abideth a priest continually.
Abideth a priest continually, perpetually. Keep going.
Now consider how great this man was.
Think about how great he must have been. He took a 10th of all that Abraham had. Consider how great he must have been. Go ahead.
Unto whom even the patriarch Abraham gave 10 of the spoils.
Abraham gave him 10%. Not the other way around. And he was Abraham. He was Levi's grandfather. And Abraham gave him 10%. Keep going.
And verily they that are the sons of Levi.
Here we go now. Listen to this carefully. Read it one more time.
And verily they that are the sons of Levi, who receive the office of the priesthood, have a command to take tithes of the people according to the law.
So now verily Levi has a commandment. A commandment to take 10% from the people according to the law. Now remember earlier we read, there has been a disannulling of this carnal commandment. This is why they hated Paul. And the Jews had to get him out the city. Levi, from the commandment from God, Levi is supposed to receive 10% from everyone. Keep going.
That is, of their brethren, though they come out of the loins of Abraham.
That they take 10% from their brethren, though Levi comes out of the loins of Abraham. Why? Because Levi is a son of Jacob, and Jacob is a son of Abraham. So Levi comes out of the lineage, the loins, the penis of Abraham. Keep going.
And he whose descent is not counted from them received tithes of Abraham.
Who is he whose descent is not counted from them? Who is he whose descent is not counted from them? What does descent mean?
To come down.
Meaning your lineage, like how you come down. That's correct, right? Meaning Melchizedek did not descend from Abraham. You understand? He didn't come out of Abraham. Read it one more time. I'll get you 1 second.
But he whose descent is not counted from them.
For who is the them? Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, right? Melchizedek, his descent is not counted from them. He doesn't come out of them. Keep going.
Received tithes of Abraham.
How did he get tithes? He wasn't a Levite. He wasn't from Jacob. Abraham gave him tithes. So how did he get tithes? Even though he did not come out of Abraham's loins, he did not come from Levi. Then how did he get tithes? Well, the law says that the Levites must receive tithes. But Abraham paid Melchizedek tithes, who was not a Levite and didn't come out of that lineage. That's the point. Come on, Warrior. What's your question?
If I could, in verse 12, when it says, unto whom even the patriarch Abraham, when it's saying patriarch like that, like, I know what it means, but it's saying like he's over everybody else. Like
Yeah, that's the point. He's the patriarch. He's over a Jacob, and he's damn sure over Levi.
Right.
But Abraham paid Abraham, who is the patriarch of all of us, he gave him tithes. Right. Meaning Melchizedek is better than Levi. That's the point. Better than Aaron. He's better than Abraham. Abraham must have thought it because Abraham paid him tithes. Right? That's the whole point of this whole thing. Keep going.
But he whose descent is not counted from them received tithes of Abraham.
Mm-hmm.
And bless him that had the promises.
He that hath the promises, meaning Abraham. What verse are you in on?
That was verse 6.
I think that's what I needed to give you. You can read that whole thing. That whole thing is about proving that the disciples of Christ should receive the 10% from the nation. That's the point. All right? This is why they hated Paul. Because right now, you give your 10% to Creflo Dollar and T.D. Jakes and to random Negro and Hispanic preachers who buy $5,000 suits and sneakers that cost thousands of dollars. You give your money to them, and they hate the UPK because we are destroying their economy. We're going to destroy the church economy, brother. We're going to wipe it out. They're going to become vagabond Jews. All of them. Come on.
Good, too. Another thing with tithes is a lot of the fake Israelites, you know what I'm saying, they get mad, you know what I'm saying, about the tithes. I hear it's like, when you pull these scriptures up and show it to them, they're the same as the Christians. So a lot of them, they in the world anyway. Like,
Yeah, they're stealing money from General Yohana, brother, and I don't like it. I'm telling you straight up. Every fake Israelite should be paying tithes to the UPK. Anybody that has a 12 tribe sign, you should be paying tithes to the UPK. Every Christian should be paying tithes to the UPK. Who in the hell is standing up and fighting for you? Your preacher isn't doing it. Your preacher is getting paid and not working. That's what he's doing. He's getting paid, but where in the hell was he for the prophecy about the COVID-19 virus? You know how much money he got paid to not say anything about a virus that was going to cripple the planet? Meanwhile, you're in church every day for his prophetic power and his close relationship with God. Meanwhile, everybody in your house is dead of the COVID-19 virus. He didn't know anything about it and didn't say anything about it. But he did take the money, though. Everybody, you fake Israelites especially, man, you better start paying tithes, all of you. Keep going. I think we're done here. All right, next. Where are we at now? You, brother from the car, you want to say something now? No, sir. All right, next question.
brother wanted to break down of Ecclesiasticus chapter 39 and verse 3. What are the dark parables?
Okay, sorry. Go ahead and read it.
Come. Ecclesiasticus chapter 39, verse 3. He will seek out the secret of great sentences and be conversant in dark parables.
Dark parables. The dark speaks about how you can't see what they mean. Dark parables are all over the Bible. All over the Bible. I mean, you can just pick one. Let me get it. Think of any parable that Christ gave, right? Any example. The parable of the sower. The parable of the eye of the camel going through the eye of a needle. No one understands them because they're dark. Just like you can't see what's right in front of you because there's no light. This statement is dark. This parable is dark. No one understands it. No one understands what Christ was taught. No one understands the parable of the prodigal son. No one but the prophets of God. No one knows what people think it's about their stupid ass family member coming back home. It's like the whole Bible is about your cousin who used to be on drugs. Now he off drugs. Then your cousin comes back home. The prodigal son has returned. And he gets in there and steals your sneakers 1 week of being in your damn house. That's not the prodigals. The Bible, and this is hard to understand because you're so self-absorbed. The Bible is not about your little petty life. The Bible is a book of nations. You understand? It's a book of nations. It's a book of politics and world domination and world economies. It's not about you and your cousin and and how you and that little petty life that you have. It's just not about you. The Bible is here for you to serve it, not for it to serve you. Do you understand? And so because of that, people take the parables and they turn them into some personal thing in their life. And so every little parable in the Bible, of course, I'm using the word parable, hoping you understand what it means, meaning an example. An example, a metaphor. Christ gave a lot of them. There are a lot of them in the Old Testament as well that no one understands, but the UPK. Come on. No sweat. All right, that's what dark. He asked about dark saying. Was it something else?
Dark parables.
Dark parables. That's it. I think I just explained it. All right. Go ahead. Next.
Brother asked, sir. Christians are always trying to use John 6 and 26 and Romans 14 and 20 to justify eating pork. But the meat in these scriptures don't seem like food at all. Can we all get a proper breakdown on the above?
No problem. It sounds like it's a parable that they don't understand. That's what it seems like. But we'll go ahead and read it first to make sure. All right. Whenever you have it, read it.
John chapter 6 and verse 26. Jesus answered them and said, Verily, verily, I say unto you, ye seek me not because ye saw the miracles, but because ye did eat of the loaves and were filled. I
don't understand. This is the one he's talking about meat. Read the second verse. Go ahead, next verse. Go ahead.
Verse 27. Labor not for the meat which perisheth, but for the meat which endureth unto everlasting life, which the Son of Man shall give unto you. For him hath God the Father sealed.
That's a new one on me. So is he saying that Christians are saying this is talking about pork? Yikes. All right, read it one more time.
Book of John.
Labor not. Just read that part.
Labor not for the meat which perisheth, but for the meat which endureth unto everlasting life.
So are they saying that pork endures unto everlasting life? Has anyone ever heard a Christian pull this precept before? I've never heard them pull this one. Up front?
Sir. I've been on that Clubhouse act for a week now. I've heard a lot of garbage. These Christians are insane, sir.
Dang. I'm out of touch. I've never heard this one before. Yikes, that's y'all problem. The car.
Salakia, sir. Captain Yakutak, before I had just came in here, Captain Yakutak was actually battling Christians and Hebrew Israelites about, they're saying pretty much, Don't make this.
All right.
They're saying that a person can smoke crack, sniff cocaine, and smoke weed as long as they don't abuse it.
No, sir. All right.
We have the audio too, sir.
Say again.
We got the audio of one of them saying it too, sir. A pastor. And guess what, sir?
Huh?
His robe is purple.
All right. Okay. Listen. No, sir. Damn. All right. All right. Well, okay. Well, then, the Christian, I'm assuming, is trying to say here that pork is everlasting, leads to everlasting life. Okay. This is with to the officers of the brother's question. This, of course, is a metaphor. This is not talking about food at all. All right. And I'll explain. Go ahead and read it one more time.
John chapter 6 and verse 27. Labor not for the meat which perisheth.
Labor not for the meat which perisheth. What does it mean to perish or to be perishable? Means physical, right? Don't labor for the meat that decays, that goes bad. But rather, go ahead.
But for the meat which endureth unto everlasting life.
But for the meat that endures, meaning it doesn't go bad. It's non-perishable. This is the meat that never goes bad. This meat lasts forever unto everlasting life. Now, of course, there is no thing. There is no meat that is just, that gives you everlasting life and lasts forever. All right? Your bacon and your pork chops that you love, they don't have magical powers. Right? So this thing, the bacon that you would think bacon does have everlasting power as much as you love it. But it actually is just meat that does go bad, and it doesn't. You can't eat it and now be full for the rest of your life, for all time. You will get hungry again, because this is not about that. I'll give it to you in a nutshell. He's saying you work hard for money because money is how you get food, right? Work hard to eat this because eating this gives you everlasting life. The chicken and the lamb and the food that you think you need to kill and strive over is not as important as eating this. What is this? The truth. Right. You put this inside of you, brother, you'll never hunger again. This leads to everlasting life. It never goes bad. That's the point. It's a metaphor, all right? He's trying to get you to put as much value in the truth as you do in money, because that is all you give a damn about, is feeding yourself and feeding your family and making sure you have enough. He's trying to say, make sure you get this meat. You eat this down, brother. It lasts forever, and you live forever when you eat it. That's the point, all right? You got your hand up, bro? See me one more time, please, Barzal.
If I could, in the verse before that, even set up to show you what it was talking about. Like after arguing with Christians and Baptist Christians, like it showed you like what type of spell is going on in the Christian church. Because it's like it makes it to where it's like you can't even try to understand what you read. And I had a precept if I could.
Please go ahead.
The book of Matthew, chapter 4, and verse 4. But he answered and said, "It was written, man shall not live by bread alone, but by every word that proceedeth out of the mouth of the Most High."
That's absolutely a precept. Give him a hand. Also, another precept is in John, the 4th chapter, where he said, "If thou drinkest the water that I give thee, thou shalt thirst no more." We're not talking about water. She was stupid. She said, "Give me some of that water," because she thought it was talking about water, but it wasn't. It was talking about the belief in him, the ability to understand what Christ said and to do what he wants you to do. That is meat that leads to everlasting life. That is water that once you drink it, you will thirst no more. If you could understand what Christ was saying, understand what he wants, and then do it, you have eaten something that will have you full perpetually. You have drunk something that will make sure you never thirst again. That's another metaphor. Everybody understands, all right? Up front.
If I may, the other scripture was Romans 14 and verse 20.
Romans 14 and 20, go ahead.
The book of Romans chapter 14 and verse 20. For meat destroy not the work of God. All things indeed are pure, but it is evil for that man who eateth with offense.
Okay, let's read above it. I'll explain. Okay.
Romans chapter 14 and verse 18. For he that is in these things serveth Christ is acceptable to God and approved of men. Let us therefore
skip down to the meat offered to other gods, right? That should be somewhere around there. This is Romans 14, right?
The book of Romans chapter 14, and I'm going to start at verse 13.
Go ahead.
Let us not therefore judge one another anymore, but judge this rather, that no man put a stumbling block or an occasion to fall in his brother's way.
Mm-hmm. This is important. No man put a stumbling block or an occasion to fall in his brother's way. Now, if you could understand this, it will give you insight into what it's like being raised in a society that breaks the law of God, and at the same time being in the truth. When you read the book of Romans, the book of Corinthians, these are brothers just like you and I, who are not living in a society that keeps the law, but living in a society that is permissive to sin, but at the same time, keeping the Most High's law, and some of the pitfalls that you can fall into. And this is what Paul is describing right now, all right? So focus in, think about you, think about yourself, and being in the truth in our oppressor society. Keep going.
Verse 14. I know and persuaded by the Lord Jesus that there is nothing unclean of itself, but to him that esteemeth anything to be unclean, to him it is unclean.
There is nothing unclean of itself, but to anyone that esteems anything to be unclean, then it's unclean to him. What are we speaking about? I'm about to read it. The reason it's saying nothing is unclean unto itself is because these brothers don't eat unclean things. So nothing is unclean of itself. He's saying exactly how it is. This turkey is not unclean. This cake is not unclean. It's just a turkey. It's just a cake. Nothing is unclean of itself. Let me think of something else. Turkey, cake, candy. This candy is just candy. Nothing is unclean on its own. But if you esteem it to be unclean, the minute this turkey becomes a Thanksgiving turkey, now it's unclean. The minute this candy becomes Halloween candy, I'm esteeming it. I'm raising it up out of the level of just being clean meats. I'm making it Halloween candy, Christmas turkey, birthday cake. Now I have just esteemed it. I've raised it up now to be an unclean thing. But remember, nothing is unclean of itself, which tells you that we're talking about clean food. Or else, nothing is unclean of itself means what? What would a Christian or a fake Israelite say that means? Like human flesh. Like this glass, like my knife. My knife is something, which means nothing is unclean, which means I could chew my knife until my teeth bleed. I could. I surely could eat babies, little dead, tender, little sweet, little delicious babies. Bite their little fingers and chew them all up. It's not unclean. Do you care that Chinese people eat cats? Why? You shouldn't give a damn. Nothing is unclean. So yeah, Chinese people, serve some cat. Put some cat in the fried rice. I'm a Christian. Nothing is unclean to me. So put some cat in the fried rice. Put some rats, mice. Cook up a few mice. Nothing is unclean. Do you see the problem, Akim? Okay, I'm trying to help you with this. In your mind, nothing is unclean is only talking about the delicious pork products you love. But nothing would mean nothing. It would mean cats and rats. You know what else it would mean? Hunan Valley bats. It would mean bats from the Hunan virus. are not unclean at all. See, science might disagree, though. You understand, right? Science might disagree. I have battles over the years with homosexuals, people of the LGBTQ community. And you know what often I would say to them? I would say, do you believe in, now you're telling me that homosexuality is good, it's fine, and God loves it. But a doctor will say that gay people are not allowed to give blood. That is true today. True today. I think last year they said, okay, we'll let gay people give blood if they have not had gay sex for 1 year. Now, for any sexually active person, that's pretty rare, right? I mean, look, put that on the screen for me. Look up here and tell me if gay people can give blood. If gay people cannot give blood, then science says that being gay is dangerous. That's what that means. Science is telling you this activity is a dangerous activity. And if you're doing it, we don't want your blood. So when you tell me that it's fine, then I have to wonder, why are medical professionals avoiding your blood? They don't want it. If you're telling me that eating anything is fine, the COVID-19 virus would disagree with that. Right? What if an animal has maggots in it? What if you get a piece of meat and it stinks and it has maggots in it? It would be clean, according to Christianity. Rotten meat. What would rotten meat be? Would you eat it? You better. Unless you don't believe in sweet Jesus. Because the Bible says what? Read it again. There is nothing. Give me that part, someone.
I know I am persuaded by the Most High, by the Lord, Yahweh, that there is nothing unclean of itself.
Rotten meat.
Nothing unclean of itself.
Meat with maggots.
Nothing unclean of itself.
Meat that's green and been sitting on a sidewalk for 3 days.
Nothing unclean of itself.
You understand what nothing is, you dummies? Nothing? Nothing just doesn't mean your bacon and your pork chops. Nothing would mean a rolled piece of meat sitting in the street full of maggots. It is not unclean. Because I understand the Bible and context, I know what the Bible is actually talking about. These brothers, everything they had was clean. Because they didn't eat a piece of rat, that was a possum that was dead on the side of the road. They didn't eat a crab or a snake. So everything was clean of itself. But when I make it a birthday cake, now it's unclean. When I make it a Christmas turkey, Thanksgiving turkey, now it's unclean. When I make it a Halloween candy, now it's unclean. That's all I can do for you. Let me see that. Read it, please.
Many countries have laws, blood donations, restrictions on men who have sex with men. Many countries have laws and regulations or recommendations that effectively prohibit donations of blood or tissue or organ transplants from men who have sex with men.
Brother, doctors don't want your blood for this act that is totally normal. And that's fine. And that is of God, not according to science. So I can't tell you to stop. I can't tell you not to do it. This thing is still okay? Well, eating a bat, according to doctors, is a pretty bad idea. I think the world agrees now. So what do I have to say? It's not? You should eat bats? From Hunan, you should eat maggot-laden meat full of maggots? I have to stop now, okay? That's enough on this topic. I cannot teach something that's stupid. I don't have the patience anymore. I used to have it years ago. Maybe it's the scotch, but I don't have patience anymore, or it's my age or something. But I want you young brothers to deal with dummies. I want y'all to handle that. I don't want to deal with dummies anymore for fear that I might pull out my gun and blow it. Not that I would ever do that, because I would never do that, but I struggle. We all human up. We're all in the flesh. We all fall short of the glory of God. I don't want to fall short all over your effing head. So you brothers deal with that, all right? Let's move on. Next question. Go ahead.
So I do got a question
about the spirit of jealousy. I believe you just broke this down a couple of years ago, but you can just break it down for me again, for sure. Is
1 second, Carl.
Numbers chapter 5, verse 14. Say, and the spirit of Numbers chapter 5, verse 14. And the spirit of jealousy come upon him, and he be jealous of his wife, and she be defiled. Or if the spirit of jealousy come upon him, and he be jealous of his wife, and she be not defiled, then the man shall bring his wife unto the priest, and shall bring her offering for her. The 10th part of an ephah of barley meal, he shall pour.
What's your question exactly, Al?
What is it talking about?
The law of jealousy is talking about that law from the Old Testament. When you brought a wife or you suspected of being a whore, and you brought her into the priest to evaluate her according to the law. You familiar with that? That's talking about that. Was that it, or was it something else? No sweat. The car? Still out there. Anything online?
Oh, yeah, common concert. It's the last one I see so far online, sir. Sister wanted to break down in Proverbs 19 and 1 through 5.
All right, go ahead.
Go.
The book of Proverbs, chapter 19, verse 1. Better is the poor that walketh in his integrity, that he that is perverse in his lips and is a fool. Verse 2. Also,
He wants that broken down. Is that what he said?
Yeah, common concert. She wants 1 through 5 broken down.
Okay. Read it one more time, please, Sister Carl.
Come. Better is the poor that walketh in his integrity.
A poor person that walks in their integrity. Meaning you're poor, but you do not steal. You don't sell drugs. You're a poor person, so you go out and you work hard and you gather yourself together, you change your lifestyle to fit your income. And you don't have much, and you have a few clothes that you keep clean. You understand? You got one pair of sneakers that you scrub with a toothbrush. And you find a way to make the little bit that you have work. That person is better. They're poor with integrity. That person is better than what?
That he that is perverse in his lips.
Than he that is perverse in his lips. And there's someone that goes out and is a stinking liar, but rich. Namely, your preachers and politicians. A poor person who's struggling, making his way, has a few things he takes good care of or she takes good care of. She keeps her children clean and sews their clothing to keep it nice. Works extra hours on her job to provide things for her child. That sister or that brother is better than a stinking liar in Washington, D.C. or a stinking liar behind a pulpit. Please.
If I could you use this for our people that's like drug dealers and stuff like that?
Absolutely. Some drug dealer selling drugs so he can, have fun in a strip club. He's a piece of garbage. And we used to threaten them constantly. You brothers don't, and that's good because you're taught not to. But boy, oh boy, I'm moving on. You get the point. Don't sell drugs. All right? That's the point. Don't sell drugs. You're a piece of garbage to sell drugs so you can buy $800 sneakers. Well, there are brothers out there, brother, working 12 hours a day in the sun changing an engine, changing someone's brakes at the auto zone in the parking lot. And then taking that money, brother, and helping out his wife and his kids and getting something for his brothers, buying a beer for the brothers out there with him. He's better than some stinking, filthy, garbage witch, which is what drug dealers are. Next.
Come, verse 2. Also that the soul be without knowledge, it is not good. And he that hastens
You get that? The soul being without knowledge is not good, brother. What's your soul? Your soul is the essence of who you are. Your soul is the thing that never dies. It's you. And you never die. Someone relieve him. You never die. You are reincarnated. Your soul gets a new body. Your soul is equipped with new flesh, but your soul lasts forever. Keep going.
Come. It is not good, and he that hasteth with his feet sinneth.
He that hasteth with his feet. What does haste mean? Quick. What are your feet? Your feet are those things that make you move. So someone that is quick to move is going to make a lot of mistakes against God, because you're quick to move, like someone who has a bad temper, right? Brothers with bad tempers. I mean, you're just a silly child who constantly makes mistakes because you can't hold your discipline.
Right.
You can't go to camp because you're quick to act, quick to move. Well, then who in the hell can be around you for a day? You're going to get a lot of brothers killed. How many brothers in the world are just dead because they have a friend who is quick to act? So you go to a bar with him, and before you know it, he punches somebody in the face in a bar. And when that happens, what? Then that guy who he punched has friends. You're his friends, so now you have to defend him. So now neighborhoods are going to kill each other. All because one brother in this crew just has quick feet, hasty feet, always reacting too fast, acting too fast. So now everybody has to die. That's the point. Keep going.
Come. Verse 3. The foolishness of man perverted his ways.
The foolishness of man perverts his ways. You are stupid. And because you're stupid, your actions are stupid. You understand? You said foolishness? Is that what you said?
Come.
Yeah. You're stupid, so your actions are perverted. Right? As opposed to being right and decent actions, your actions get skewed and twisted. And you do stupid things because you're stupid. You need some knowledge in your soul. You need to stop being so effing ignorant. And you begin to learn something, and now learning that thing changes everything you do. Let me tell you something, and having that type of knowledge, man, it will keep you from the grave and from prison and from doing terrible things to people. Keep going.
Come. And his heart fretted against the Most High.
His heart frets. What's your heart? Your mind. It frets, meaning it fights the Lord. It aggravates the Lord, which is fret means like worry or aggravate or anger. Your heart is against the Most High. It aggravates the Most High because you're so stupid, and your stupid ways create perverted actions. The stupid mind creates perverted actions, and that angers the Most High. Keep going.
Come. Verse 4. Wealth maketh many friends.
Come on now, you understand that. The entire civil rights movement is about getting rich people jobs. That's the civil rights movement. The civil rights movement is because rich black people went to fancy hotels and were turned away. And they wouldn't have you march in the street so that they could go to that hotel. That's the civil rights movement. Every week upstairs with Commander Giuliano, we do some story about some law professor at Harvard who is not getting his fellowship. I go, who in the F cares? Some old rich cat, you'll see it every week. Every week, there are no appellate judges who are black or Hispanic. Who gives a F? So I gotta fight to make sure that some cat from Harvard becomes president. That's my whole goal in life. Well, your kid's eating Cheerios. Your goal in life is making sure that the appellate court in New York has a black or Hispanic judge. Or there's a CEO, a black CEO over a Coca-Cola company. That's it. So all you are is cannon fodder for rich black people to get a raise. F them. Don't ever hire any of them. Who cares? Who cares about some rich? Well, we need more black CEOs. We need black football owners. Who? Who are you going to get to own the football? One of my brothers? Somebody from the hood or the barrio? Who are you going to get to own a black? Who are you going to get to be the first black or Hispanic owner of a basketball team? Who? Or a football team? Who? One of you. That's who. If OJ didn't kill them women, OJ would have been the first owner of a football team. Do you understand? OJ was one of them. That's it. And that's the type of person that they love so much. Some old rich bastard who could care less about us and has a white woman in his bed. Forget them. Who cares? Keep going.
Come on. But the poor is separated from his neighbor.
But him? Nobody cares about him. You'll fight so that there could be a black CEO over Coca-Cola. And there needs to be more representation in the boardroom. So you got to fight and get trampled by dogs so they can get a better job than the one they already have. They already vice president, but I got to go be beat to death by cops so they can make president. No, thank you. Look at all you did for Barack Obama. You fought. He's already president of the Harvard Law Review, rich already as a lawyer. You fought and marched, so he fought so he could become president. Maybe he just stays president of the Harvard Law Review. Maybe he'll just have to deal with that. Somehow, he'll have to just find a way to make being a Harvard law professor enough. But the poor person, no one cares about him. Keep going.
Come, verse 5. A false witness shall not be unpunished.
You understand that? What does it mean to bear a false witness? When you lie and say someone did a crime that they did not commit, don't do that, because you're going to get just what he would have gotten if he was punished for that crime. That's going to happen to you. Keep going.
Come. And he that speaketh lies shall not escape.
You understand that? Don't be a goddamn liar, because you're going to catch hell. You're going to get just what you need to get if you're a liar. Keep going.
So you said that's it for her question.
Done. Any last questions?
Khan, sir.
They're already, Maya. Go ahead.
All right. Last question is from General Kathungabar.
Mm-hmm.
He said, can I get a breakdown on Daniel chapter 9, verse 23 to 27?
Go ahead, quickly.
Khan, the book of Daniel chapter 9, verse 23. At the beginning of thy supplications, the commandment came forth, and I am come to show thee, for thou art greatly beloved. Therefore understand the matter and consider the vision.
Okay, so this is a vision that Daniel now is going to explain to us because the Most High wants him to do it. Go ahead.
Verse 24. 70 weeks are determined upon thy people and upon thy holy city to finish the transgression.
Keep going.
And to make an end of sins.
So 7 weeks. 7 weeks. The word 7 in the Bible just represents enough time, like a complete amount of time. You'll hear 7. How many times shall you forgive your brother? 7 times 70. What does that mean? It means all the time, right? 7 weeks does these people have to commit their acts of sin and to learn to stop, right? You have 7 weeks. What does that mean? You have just enough time. Not 7 months, not 7 years. 7 weeks means you don't have an abundance of time. It's short, but you got just enough time to change. That's what the 7 weeks is. Keep going.
And to make an end of sins.
To make an end of sins. You get the point. Go ahead.
And to make reconciliation.
A reconciliation?
Reconciliation.
Go ahead.
Reconciliation for iniquity.
Meaning to repent to the Most High God for what you did in the past. That's what all of us are doing in here. Not only who have decided to serve the Most High God and sisters that have decided to serve those men, but we're people who realize we owe a debt to Christ because of who we were in the past. It's ever before us. We have sinned in thy sight, and our iniquity is ever before us. That's what David said, brother. We understand who we are and what we've done. We understand we don't deserve to be here alive. So now because of that, we will pay our debt to the Most High because we are alive. So now we will donate this life to him and we'll live as he would have us live, not as we would have ourselves live. So not only do we give up pork and give up shrimp, which is what we should do because it's lawful. Nah, we're going to take it a step further. We're going to become soldiers for him, weapons for him, servants for him, and now go out and do the job he would do if he was here. Any one of us that realized we were sinners could have just said, like these fake Israelite groups, they see they're sinners and they go home and say, you know what? I'm going to stop eating pork. Yay! I stopped eating pork. Thank you. I stopped eating crab. Yay! Thank you. Thank me, everybody. That's not what we did. We gave up sin, kept the commandments, and then put our lives on the line. And also went out to be hated and rebuked and treated as criminals simply for trying to give the law that saved our lives to other people. Christ said, if you love me, take up thy cross and carry it after me. We also decided to get ourselves into persecution for him because he was persecuted for us. That's what this scripture is talking about. That's in essence what the Bible is talking about. Keep going.
And to bring in everlasting righteousness.
You get that? Keep going.
And to seal up division and prophecy.
And to seal up division and prophecy. Is he asking what division means, or is there a vision somewhere we should break down? Okay.
Quick breakdown.
I got you. Meaning division in the prophecy, meaning the vision and the prophecy of Israel being forgiven for their sins and being taken back as the royal people on the planet Earth. The New Testament, the Old Testament always prophesied that we would be delivered from our adversaries, which the Most High God forced us to serve under. And we will be taken back as the rulers of the planet Earth. Well, if you want to seal that up, if you want to make sure it happens, then you're going to have to turn back to the Lord our God with all your heart and all your soul. With that, pass the class over to Priest Officer Barzal.
Allahu Akbar. Barak. Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahshua Barakah. The ISUPK security announcements. We are the ISUPK, started out of 1 West, 125th Street, Harlem, New York. Rule for new brother and sister. When a new brother and sister comes into the school, they are off limits for 6 months. They are to be saluted only. They are here to share themselves with the world. If they need transportation, the teacher will arrange it. After 6 months, if a brother and sister has an interest in a particular person, he or she must get permission from the head to speak to a brother or sister. There's another 6 months in which the brother and sister will court each other. After this 6-month period, the brother and sister will get permission from the head to marry. Tithes, which is a commandment. You can read about this in the book of Numbers, chapter 18, verse 21. Also the book of Malachi, chapter 3, verses 8 through 10. Ma'ashra means 10% of every, it means 10% in Hebrew. 10% of every penny of the Lord increase you give it to the teacher. Priest fund, free will offering for the priest, not mandatory. Whatever so amount you would like to give. Up and coming holy convocation will be, the memorial of blowing trumpets, the first day of the 7th month, Monday, September 6, 2021. We read about this in the book of Leviticus, chapter 23, verses 24 to 25. Remind Akim and Aqua to check the bulletin board in the hallway. If any brother wants to be a trooper in the school, start to wear all black, boots, shirt, pants, headband, and scarf. And with that, Amajim, which means to stand. Men of Israel, we will get a brother's courteous salute. Men of Israel, Amad Shabbat, Amajim, Barak, Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahshua Barakah. Time, which means hands down, sorry, which means turn, to face the sisters. Sisters, we're going to give you a courteous salute. Men of Israel, Imad Shabbat, Imad Barak, Yahweh Shemar done by Shemi Yahushua. Yahweh Top, class dismissed. Oh, I can see you.